Okay. So, hey guys, this is Infinity, and I am here with Sky Star, and I did your healing. How many? I always do this. How many
It was
days?
like a week. It
It
was
was
like a
about.
week and a half.
Is it that long? Uh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
been like a week and a half.
I know. Yeah, it's been about a week. You've actually made a couple of really awesome testimonial and kind of videos. You did one the very next day, and
Hmm.
every day you're talking, because we talk every day on our chat through Instagram. And every day you're talking more about things that you've been experiencing. And so I said, today you should maybe do another one, kind of keep up with this so it's fresh in your mind. And so you did do another one. But this is our post-healing chat with each other. So, and what I like to do in this is talk about the actual healing itself, and then a little bit about afterwards too, and then we can also point people to your own videos that you did, which are awesome.
Thank you.
So yeah, and thank you so much for doing that. I love that.
I felt compelled to. I felt I needed to share the experience right away.
I, I I love that. No, it was great. I've never asked anybody to do that. I've just asked people to. Never really occurred to me. To be honest with you, when you said that, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. That's so cool. Because people have written testimonials and people have done these videos with me, or audio if they're shy and they don't want to be on video, but I haven't had somebody actually just do their own talking about it. So you're the first to do that. And that was really cool. Um, to
I really felt like I had to. It was just it had such a profound effect on me that I had to speak about it.
I love that. And let me just tell you, before I just set you free to just flow, that when you did that video, I was sitting there, I was listening to it and watching you, like while I was doing dishes over there, looking out the window. And I thought, if I'm ever in a really low place about maybe what I do or life is hard, I'm going to remind myself to watch this video that Skystar did, because it's so uplifting and made me feel so good about what I do, that I'm just like, it just affirmed stuff for me. You know what I mean? Because I've had my doubts, trust me. I
I've
have.
had my doubts about my own abilities too until they've like demonstrated
No, it
themselves to
wasn't
me.
my abilities. It was, should I do it? It wasn't.
Oh,
No,
I
no,
mean,
no. It wasn't. Can I do it? That has been affirmed
should I?
many times. Yes, is, do I want to walk this path as a healer? You know what I mean? Because
Mm,
it's not the easiest in the world. So I've been kind of, like we talked about, I've been my own block. I've been 1 foot in and 1 foot out, because I have very much been like, for different reasons, you know. But one of them is, the life path of a healer, and like a real healer, a real healer is definitely different. And you open yourself up to a lot of stuff and people and energy and their reactions, whether they're positive or negative, as they transmute and
mm,
stuff. And I've had some people that, well, now I do a different procedure at the end, that I think helps. But I have had people get uncomfortable with their healing, and there had been, just that sort of, um, it's almost like, thank you so much for healing me. Why the hell did you do that? Kind of. Now I have to deal with myself, and they can
right.
lash out.
I mean, they asked for it though. They
Oh,
didn't know.
absolutely. But people tend to kind of, they the easiest way for me to put it, so I don't make this confusing, is that
I imagine they didn't know the implications fully. You know what I mean?
they do. No, for everybody it's different. And I tell everybody, when you go
Mm,
through this, you're literally shutting off so much density and history and pains and fears and all sorts of stuff. But it doesn't, not all of it I can just make evaporate for you. You are going
Right.
to have to physically go through that, you know, consciously, subconsciously, in your dream state, in your wake state. There's a lot of transmutation that takes place, not only in the session, but afterwards. And sometimes people are catapulted up against the window of themselves in ways that they're not used to, and then they go, why am I here? You're why I'm here. And then there's just this kind of natural reaction that, like, I'm just pissy, you know, like, and and I've seen that happen, and I try to make that not happen. And it's just, I think, a jarring situation. And sometimes, for some people, they need to have their healings and their business and whatever, and then have a separation from the healer. This is not a new thing. This is something that happens with people and with healers. It's all different, but I do a different procedure at the end now to kind of fortify more of the faith, and I guess the strength in the person, that you really are changed. There isn't any coming back, because as these things come up, you can sink down into them, or you can let them go, and it's all up to you. But you really need to be in a place of wanting truly to release this stuff, or it can, because it's thought form, it's energy. As you're releasing even the stuff that's gone, there's like, can look at it like, okay, there's this like little chasm, it's filled up with your whatever past stuff, energies, whatever, and then we go in there and blow it out, and then we infuse it with the love light energy all throughout your whole systems. But as your body is acclimating to these changes, there are going to be some things that do come up, like in the void. What's missing? Oh, these things are missing. And then when these things are missing, what do you do with that? Do you start bringing them back in and obsessing and going over them and whatever again? Because you're in control of your energy. You can either look at that and go, yeah, wow, that's part of my story. I see it over there now, and I release it to go, and I'm good with what's in me now. It's so much healthier, and it's blossoming into this whole thing. Or you could get back into that. You can get hooked, back into that, kind of thing. And and it could be different for different, for the different things that may be going on. So anyway, when it comes to energy, and everybody's different, everybody handles their transmutations differently. Some people get really tired, some people get really energetic, some people get really hungry, some people can't eat, some people shit 5 times the next day, some people, seriously, some people, like, it's all over the place, because its energy goes and comes, and it works in our bodies in different ways. And just like when people are losing weight, how do they lose weight? Think about it. You know what I mean? Like, where does it go?
You breathe it out.
You breathe it out. You shit it out. You piss it out. You do all these things as your body does these. And when you're losing weight, you notice as people lose weight, they're not only losing weight. If you pay attention to the person and their energy, that density is gone. Not just the weight, but the density is gone. The energy attached to the weight is gone. It just takes so much longer, because it's not easy to lose weight for some people. But they come to me and do one of these things, they will lose weight a lot faster, because, like I tell people, it just starts to fall, because where is it supposed to, what's it attached to? There's nothing for it to hold on to. Once the energy that it was why it was there was needed is gone, it's gone. So anyway, enough about all that. I probably needed that, though, to kind of get into this. So, but I do want to know, like, from your perspective, as we got started with the healing, just what stuck out for you. You don't have to necessarily, force anything, but just anything that comes out. When it comes to visuals, I'm not so interested in that, and I don't like putting thoughts in other people's heads about visuals, because everybody
Mm.
has their own. So if you want to share a little bit about what you saw, that's totally cool, but detailed into maybe, you know, Gaia or any of that stuff, I like to keep that as fuzzy as possible, because everybody has their own way of visualizing, you know.
And
So
it's best to not push a certain way of thinking.
yeah, so even when I do my astrals and stuff, I will be specific about how things look, but then I'll leave things really open, because people are imagining, and things are coming to the, you know, them visually too. So I like to kind of leave that open, because it's such a beautiful part, you know, the visuals, the connections and things like this, it's very intimate. And I mean, to me, that's like the best word to use. It's very intimate. And so people have similar, you know, because everybody tells me people have similar experiences, but they're all just a little bit different. So anyway, so for you, my love, Sky Star, tell me how it was.
So it was obviously a very personal experience. Every time that a chakra was brought up for clearing, all of the energy associated with it would be brought to my mind, and everything that's affecting it and still dense and hard associated with it. And as it was being cleansed, I would see the connections and see what thought patterns were creating more density and what thought patterns were helping to release that density before the healing even.
So you were thinking about it before, like you talking about? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking
We talked about that.
I was even before the healing, it was like the healing process had already been happening for a while.
Well, I told you, once you
And
make the decision to do it, your body starts to like
mhm,
prepare you for that. It's very psychic, and I know that because I've experienced with other people too. Like I know, like once they make that decision, it's like we're already on that
mhm.
lane or path or whatever.
Um, a lot of the time, it was very, very visceral. All of the sensations. It was so. Every time you would say something, I would have experienced it at least a second before you would say it. So it was just like confirmation after confirmation of how incredibly real all of it is.
Oh yeah, for
and
sure.
and the visuals weren't so much there as it was the sensations for me. I've never really had as much visuals regarding like meditations or anything like that. It's always been more of the sensations.
You describe them so visually, though. Sometimes it's like I think
I use certain visual cues because I get certain visual cues, but it's not always visual, you know?
yeah. Oh yeah, I know. I know. For me, it's all sorts of stuff happening at the same
Mm,
time to create the experience. It's not just like watching a movie the whole time. It's that'll come
mhm,
and go, and I'll just have feelings and get impressions and all sorts of stuff and
mhm.
feel stuff in my body. It's like, and it's just all one big thing. But maybe we should talk just a minute about like what first I do a clearing of you and your space, your home, your perimeter. We fortify it with a dome around your specific house. Has that felt different for you?
So,
How's that been?
something interesting that I saw around my house afterward, like the day after, there was like a perimeter of ash around my house.
Really?
Not even kidding. There was a perimeter of
I,
like it looked like somebody had a bonfire and then took that ash and like put it on the bottom of their shoe prints and then like walked around the perimeter of my house.
so it was light, but visual. I mean, but obvious.
No, I mean, the next day, I walked outside and I saw a perimeter of ashy footprints
Okay. I thought you meant like
around the perimeter of my house,
like like shoe prints or footprints.
like shoe prints.
Oh, interesting.
It was like they weren't defined shoe prints, but it was like there was a perimeter of ash around my entire house in the grass.
And the grass. So how far out did it go?
It went out about, I would say this side of my house is just outside, I'd say like 10 feet. There was a perimeter. That's where the perimeter started. I don't know how that took me so long to say, but
And how
10
is
feet.
only hearing about this now?
Because I didn't think about it.
Because what?
I didn't think about it to mention.
Wow.
But I wish I could show you, but it's rained a few times, so it's gone. But I should have taken a video. But what the fuck? And the weirdest part.
All you do are videos.
The weirdest part.
Hilarious.
The weirdest part is about that far out, a little farther, is where the barrier was established during the clearing. And it was like a barrier of pink purple kind of glistening light.
Yeah, basically like what we do with Gaia. The same thing. We just
kind of like a mirror bubble.
Yeah, we mirror bubble it, and it's like it's pretty high. I mean, I just picture this just like, I mean, they're the ones who came and said, this is what we're doing now with every one of your, I mean, they're the ones who do all of it. Like,
mm-hmm.
I just show up, man. No, I'm just kidding. No, seriously, like my whole procedure with what I do has evolved and is, I mean, it's pretty much like kind of where it is right now, but yeah, that's major part of it. A major part of it is we do like an easy, like what I would imagine, like energetically, like taking a nice like shower, like spray.
What's weird though is when you started putting that bubble around, I was envisioning that energy raining down on everything in the house as well.
Yeah.
And my gram actually got like more rambunctious at that point. It was weird.
Oh, funny. You mean you could hear like downstairs, like, or whatever?
No, like we only have one floor in the house.
Oh.
So like she became more rowdy from watching the TV coincidentally around the same time. Or not so coincidentally. But around the same time.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
This is actually, I think, the first healing that I've done where there's been other people in the home at the same time. So that's interesting. I mean, it worked, obviously.
It worked, obviously.
Not a problem. She even came in at one point, and I didn't hear. I just remember I heard her voice, and I was like mid-sentence. I was like,
you were talking.
I think it was channeling.
You were channeling Gaia.
Yeah.
and Graham comes in. She's like, "Are you asleep?" And I said, "No, I am not asleep." So she's like, "Okay." And then she left. And then it was kind of like a pause for 10 seconds.
No, I just like started back up again. It's different. Like when it's a little different when I channel in the healings versus when I'm channeling in the astrals. In the healings, she's just like right there, you know what I mean? So we just kind of do this like back and forth thing real easily. Whereas in the astrals, it's a lot deeper. That's why I'll forget stuff. Like I'll just be like, I know I talked for so-and-so, but I have really no recollection of it. And when I do the healings with her, I'm a it's a bit more, but I'm in the healing, so I can't like, get too far in. Besides, she's just like right there. But anyway, so we do that, the clearing of your room, we just kind of take it out all the way, and we just grow it to your home. And then we go and we expand it all the way out until it wraps around Gaia and comes back. So the whole world gets some. Well, every single time I do a healing. And then after that, the biggest procedure part, well, not the biggest, but the longest procedure part, the core of the clearing and grounding is with Gaia. So we don't have to get into like everything we do, because when that was shown to me, how we fill up and everything, that whole thing, the first time I was like, wow, that's really bitchin'.
It's pretty bitchin'.
It's pretty bitchin', isn't it? And
it's pretty bitchin'.
And I think there's pulling the energy up and out and filling that vessel is like, for each one of your chakras is there's something about that, to really feel the flow of your energy there. And then we drop it down into Gaia, and then she receives it, her as her divinity, her, what you would imagine her to be and look like. If she was embodied, and trust me, she can change how she looks. So the way I may perceive her and the way she's reflecting to you could be different. So I might say things and see, I try to even keep my descriptions to a minimal in that space, because it's so not about me. it's about what's happening, and just kind of being a witness and taking you through it. But then she literally receives each one of your chakra energies, holds on to it, infuses with you, gives you a message. And then, well, first she meets with your energy, infuses it, and so there's the first thing. And then she, takes your energy. So there's this kind of process that happens with each chakra and Gaia, and what happens with her and you. That's what I say is just so intimate, because she has her messages, she's infusing with your energy, she's grounding you, she's, tethering in a way that's, I don't know, I've never heard of it before. So, and
it is quite unique.
And we take our time with it. There isn't a rush. And so that's the process that you're talking about, that you were feeling as we activated each one, that you were feeling those emotions or those thought processes, right? Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to explain
when I would get the visualizations of my energy, I would see all of the stuff that went into making that energy not in alignment, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. And it would all be like little dinks in the shininess of the energy. And when it would infuse, it would slowly get brighter. And then when she held it in her hands and gave me the message, it would be getting like infinitely bright. Mm-hmm. And those messages were all incredibly moving. I was crying almost the entire time.
Most people do. It's the reaction.
Mostly the entire time.
Everybody has and it's hard for me to, that's why I said with your healing, it was really hard for me to, because it's literally like somebody whispering in your ear and then you talking for them. And I'm just like, how does this not, like, it's so moving. And I'm just like, but I'm doing your healing, how good is I can't be bawling through your healing. So I'm just like, whoa, hold on a second, because it's so pretty and beautiful. And everything she says is just so amazing. But so it's like, she just gets to the core of it so quickly. Yeah, it's like her knack of it is just just blows me away every time. But it just goes to show you how connected you like already are when she knows you so well, you know? And when you think about it, you know, you've been walking on her and living here your whole life. So of course she knows you so well. Your connection to her, you knowing, just like anybody with the divine beings in their life, their connection to you and them knowing you is exponentially greater than your understanding and awarenesses of them. That's why when you finally connect, there's such a deep connection. You're like, oh, okay, like there isn't this like getting to know you phase with your spirit tribe, because no, there doesn't need to be. They've been talking, you've been hearing, you just haven't been really aware. So anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No worries. Those messages were very, very motivating, because by what she was telling me, I was already doing so well, and this healing was kind of like a big booster pack to get just further into my journey of helping other people with my love and support. And it's just super, super awesome to have that opportunity. You know what I mean? One thing that really stuck out to me was, I mean, like I said, it's not really something, I'm not really somebody to have visuals, but the visuals, when you would describe them, I was having them before you were describing them, and they were all really crisp, like a dream. And you described, imagine the earth being split in half and you're seeing the energy go down. I was already seeing it that way before you described it. No, it was just, the entire time my mind is blown from how in tune everything was. It was just really exciting and cool.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's because that's what everybody says. Even, you know, I've had a good mix of people who are used to meditation and people who never do it and get, you know, that, or even guided meditation, nothing like that, you know. And what I do is a distance healing, guided meditation, channeling. It's a combination of stuff. And with the people who aren't, you know, used to tapping in or whatever, like Sean, he was so cute. He was just like, it just blew me away. Like, he's like, I would feel it in my body when you would say, you know, it's, you know, you guys are like, me and Gaia are, you know, our energies, you know, coming together now. And he's like, I would feel that in my body, and I would feel like all these things. He's like, I didn't think I was going to feel anything. He's like, so what I felt was just like completely mind blown that he felt, number one, anything, let alone in time and visually and stuff with, you know, what I was saying and how I was saying things were going to feel, or just basically like what you're saying. That I think
it's incredible how absolutely visceral everything felt.
Yeah, your energy is really moving. It was really, really, really that's why people, when I talk to people, they're like, oh, it's like a mind over matter thing. And I'm like, no. I'm like, not really. It's not. It's an energy thing. I mean, your mind has to be like, I mean, I know I can do same thing that, you know, any angelic can do in their state, which is go and heal even without the person being aware of it. We do that all the time. But when somebody is
I've actually had a lot less difficulty sending my energy to people, even when, like, it's almost like I get their consent before I even ask. They're like, yep.
I gotcha. Yeah. And then so
please send me this awesome energy. You're awesome. Yeah, exactly. it's like that feeling.
Yeah, I love that. But So, but then when you're conscious of it and on board with it and fully aware of what's going on, then, you know, you can, that's, I mean, it is important because there are times you have to breathe through it and release it, because I know that as this energy is moving and as we're going through there and doing stuff, that all sorts of sensations are coming up. I visually have seen people's energy move in their body. You can see it moving, and because it's moving, and sometimes it's moving this way and that way. So it is definitely one of those things that it is a visceral, more than, yeah, if you're gonna pick visceral versus visual, it is definitely visceral, because of
Mm-hmm.
all the energies moving from here all the way down and in through every single fiber and cell and molecule of your entire body. You know, starting with those chakras. And do you feel like, because at the end, what we, where we get you to, and it's, sure, it would be great if it always stayed this way, but we understand that, you know, life, and it's not always this way, that you, we get all your chakras spinning at the same, you know, in time together, that there's this easy flow, that
And I've tried to maintain that as well. I've tried to come back to the center and be like, okay, I remember how this felt. We're gonna keep that going. And then I can feel that sensation start going again of them all being
good,
going at the same time and in
good,
balance.
good. Yeah, because it's all about the clearing, the balancing, and the flow to keep you as energetically open, so things don't stick. That's how we get
Hmm.
them not to stick. So we stay open and flowy, right? And
And
so,
I feel like that's why I've been so airy and
yeah,
just like uppity lately, is because everything's flowing and in balance and
yeah,
working correctly.
yeah.
And I've told you and Leslie so many times, I feel like I'm just gonna take off in my body and just start flying. And you guys are just like ground, ground, and I'm like, I try.
No, there is no, I think your floaty feeling is different than not being grounded. You're really grounded. You're just, you know, you're more grounded than 99.99999% of the population on this planet, because of what we did. You know what I mean? Like, you're always going to have that groundedness with Gaia. That's not going to go away. What can change is energy getting a little displaced in your body or whatever. And especially given, you know, lifestyle matters, diet matters, environment matters, where you work matters, and you work someplace that is very energetically challenging on different levels. So,
And it was definitely set up that way.
yeah. Yeah. Well, you got to change that.
It was definitely set up that way, and it's coming to an end soon.
Yeah, it is for sure.
'Cause I'm
Um,
tired of it.
yeah, yeah. You working? Sky works in lives in Wisconsin, Baraboo, right?
Baraboo.
Baraboo, I love that. Baraboo, Wisconsin, and
In fact, Baraboo has an infinity sign.
oh, you told me that.
It has an infinity sign as the two circles on the end of on the sign that welcomes you into the town.
Okay, you need to take a
And
picture.
the funny part is, I don't remember ever seeing that infinity sign. I will next time I go past it, if it's far away enough and works. But I don't remember ever seeing that until about like a year ago or a month ago. I don't remember ever seeing that
A year
infinity
ago or
symbol.
a month ago. You're so funny. You're like,
I don't.
you're a cooker.
Time doesn't exist.
You correct me. Yeah,
Time
I
doesn't
definitely
exist. What do you mean?
see that if you can. Oh, I just saw it. 72444. It's 7. Seriously, Bailey. Seriously.
It's weird.
Look at it.
It's weird and cool.
70. Okay, I'm gonna have to show you. It was like 7. Okay, the numbers just blew my brain. Okay, whatever. I see the amount of time I see 72 or 27, but this was 724 with 44 seconds. It was just 72444, and I was just like, ah. And then I look at my phone, and it's at 74%. It's just like, it was interesting. It was interesting. Okay, so what were you saying about that? Oh, that where you work at a water park, and it's filled with chlorine and a lot of people. So anybody that deals with the general public on an ongoing basis has a tougher time than those who don't. Period. That's why I set up the and I might change it, or not change it, but also because I have a new service that it's the clearing and the grounding with Gaia, but without the channeling part. But currently I have like 3 total body packages, because there are people, like for healers themselves or for people that work in the general public or whatever, where, maybe you'll find every 3 months, this might be a good idea, to do. You might need a tune up. I mean, it's there for that reason. Like I said, I'm really not into, of course I want you to always be my client, but and for me to always be your healer, but I'm not necessarily stuck on repeat business from you unless you need it. I'm stuck on getting you, as healthy as you can and maintaining that on your own. And if you need me, great, I'm here for you. But the best thing is for you to maintain your energy, yourself, by your choices and your attitude and your beliefs and your faith and your lifestyle, right? I mean, when you go to the doctor, you go there because you need to, or for a checkup or whatever, but you don't need to be going to the doctor all the time to take care of you. You know what I mean? So I'm the same way. Like, I am absolutely here for you whenever you may need it, but I also want to help you help yourself. That's why I'm constantly telling you how to do it, things to do, or else I'd be like, oh, let's have that stack up so he feels like crap, and then come back and see. There's like healers that do that, you know what I mean? I don't.
That's not a healer, I don't feel like.
Yeah, healers. I don't believe in that. I believe in full on sovereignty.
If they're calling themselves a healer and they do that, they're not doing a good job at healing.
No,
they're doing a good job at being selfish.
Some people, they want to be the ones in power and to make you better, instead of teaching you that you can be in power and keep yourself better. You know what I mean? So there's a difference there.
And I've been getting a lot of that recently, like especially from my healing. I transmuted all of, or at least brought up all of the negative energy that was trapped inside of me, obviously. And you brought it up. But it was all at least put into light or transmuted. And I saw a lot of the limiting beliefs that I had, and horribly, I shouldn't say dumb, but I don't have any other term for it. Horribly dumb. Silly. Horribly silly thought patterns that I got into, where I felt I didn't deserve any of the good stuff that I had in my life, and that my life was just too incredible because I had made so many mistakes and all that garbage. But and
you just turned 18. But see, this is how people, you're not alone being 18 feeling this way. A lot of people are 18 feeling this way for various different reasons. We all have our own journeys, but if you take that and then add another 10 or 20 years of life on top of that, imagine how that would feel. And this is how
Yeah.
people are currently walking around right now. So you having this experience and going through this at this time here, you're just so much more better equipped to go on, because you're not going to take this with you. It's not a factor. You can, instead of looking back at it and seeing it in a negative way, you can look at it in this kind of dreamy state instead of this hard thing. It's more of a dreamy kind of, for me, that's how it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know, if I really think hard about the details of that, I'm like, okay, you know, but it's just not there anymore. You know, I have to really like try to work on it. And then I'm like, why the hell am I doing that? That's dumb. But I don't, you know, because once you release it, it really doesn't have a space in you. You have to like really like try for it. And that's it. If it's right there, it's like, it's too close. So you got to let that go. If if you're still angry, it's what I was telling, I think, the group, if you're still pissed off and angry and fearful about, when you think about either people, situations, or circumstances in your life, then there's still an attachment to that. If you can look at it and go, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Regardless of who's in that story, regardless of what transpired, you can look at it from a detached state, because guess what? You are detached from it. And you see it from a perspective that you're not so emotionally tangled in it. Because that's what we do. We untangle the energy. So it's just like there.
And I could feel how tangled I was.
Yeah, very tangled. Everybody is. You know what I mean?
Obviously. Everybody is. It's hard to not be tangled up.
Yeah.
Because
it really is.
It's especially when I don't mean to like be, oh yeah, my story was so bad, but especially when you were raped for 7 years, like that's something that's hard to forget and hard to let go of and hard to forgive. But once I saw it from the perspective of I'm here now and I've used that experience to become a better person, see it from a different perspective like that, such a beautiful thing.
And you were already, like what you talked about, I mean, you were already doing that before the healing. You'd been working on that. I mean, we do in our astrals, all the messages.
I'd been working on it for a lot.
Yeah, all the messages that we get in the astrals with the archangels and Gaia and Jesus coming, and just everything, I think, leading up for you to that just was like helping you get there. So it was even, I think, I don't know, extra helpful once we got to your healing, because I think you made your Me Too's before the healing, right?
I did, yeah.
So you had already been working on loosening and untangling yourself from that and being pulled in that direction, because you can feel as you start to rise in your frequency, as you start to naturally transmute, the things in your body and the thoughts and memories and situations that put those energies in your body, they can't hide anymore.
They're brought to light.
Yeah, they start to be really obvious, and you're just like, this isn't comfortable anymore. What do? I need to deal with it. I need to let it go. I need to see it. And because we're really good at, for survival purposes, we're really good at just building a wall up and not blocking, just completely blocking out traumatic events. And
Yep.
but that doesn't mean they're gone. We've just locked them up someplace, so they're in there bouncing around your whole life, causing all sorts of dissonance in your body that is there because it happened to you, but you're not at a place where it can lift to the surface. It's just deep, and it needs to that's the untanglement or whatever, the releasement that happens is as the density starts to lift. That's why I call it like layer by layer. You can, you could slice off your little layers every day if you're working on this stuff, or you can just go, all right, I want to get rid of this chunk right here. Just kind of, just literally push it all up like in a hardcore way.
And I remember, I think it was a few weeks ago that I was even texting the group chat, and it was a different group chat at that point, but I was like scream crying everything out of me. And it was like at that point, I remember when I was younger, I had that vision of the rock and the feather, the giant mountain. I was envisioning while I was scream crying, like I was getting a vision of like that was part of the mountain shrinking and the feather getting larger, like that session of scream crying. Because I was like, when I say scream crying, my voice was hoarse afterward because I was just like viscerally getting all of this shit out of me. And I'm surprised I didn't get like noise complaints because I was loud as fuck.
Do you remember
But it was for like 15 minutes too.
Do you remember what brought it up? What we were talking about, or what? I can't remember.
No.
Right now.
I really don't. I don't want to say it was random, but I know that earlier that day I wasn't really feeling too good that whole day, but like not particularly good. But I think it was only because I was bringing up that energy to get out of me.
Several weeks ago. I think
Yeah.
was I think a lot of people did a lot of transmutation after Gabriel came into the astrals at the different ages.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was around, that's what I'm getting right now. I think it was that.
Because with the little kids. Yeah.
A lot of people were really affected by that, which they're supposed to be. It was because you can't I think it, when we all started and these things happen like that. And as I think, the group kind of changes over, that'll probably happen again, just because to get into that space brings up these things. I guess it depends on who's there and what needs to happen. I don't know. I'm not in charge of it. But if that happens, then obviously the people in that space need that to happen so they can be less dense, so they can be more healthy, so they can come back into that space. And you know what I mean? If you see the progression of how things have gone and how it makes perfect sense how this is all gone.
This has all gone.
It's gone. So yeah, I think that's what I was getting right now, was that I think it was after one of those days because they were kind of back to back. With Gabriel and showing up with the children, and but it was also as she was showing up with them, like I think it was 3 or 4 days in a row, maybe 3, and to the point where like as it went on, you can see and I could feel and see like the changes when we were how do I put this? Like at first it was more kind of shock and sadness when people got in contact with their babies and with their little kids. But then after like the 3rd day, it was more like happy to be there, seeing them. Like the energy was completely different when it was in the presence of your own you know, you as a baby and you as a small child, and them witnessing us doing what we were doing, it was a completely different.
For me, that moment was really surreal because I could feel, I had this moment where I was communicating with the smaller version of me, like, you are going to do so many incredible things. You
I
need
think
to.
that's the point of us all being there at that time. So, you know, you could, so astrally, your small self can see that
Mhm,
and know it, even, and wake up in that timeline and maybe not understand that or remember it, but it's there. You know what I
mhm,
mean? And then here you are years and years later in that space on
mhm,
the other side of that. Like, I full on believe that. I full on believe it for all of us, because look at what we made it through, all of us. And I
mhm.
know that for some that have done that, those particular astrals, they didn't share all of their experience, but everybody was like, okay, holy shit with Gabriel. Like, that was a big deal.
Mhm.
And she's, you know, she is the, if there's a counterpart motherly nature with Gaia, it's Gabriel. They are the same, like very similar in that. So that's why she's there in that space, you know? So so I think, yeah, definitely that was when you had your next day shake up and release.
Catharsis.
Mm-hmm. And
Mhm.
that, and that was a few, at least 3 weeks before your healing, at the very least. I think it's more than that.
And that was like, that was bringing up all of my guilt and sadness and issues of abandonment, all of that. Um, I remember one of the most punctual parts of it was, uh, even though I had even though I had this sort of thought many, many other times before, but when I screamed it, it was like it was finally getting out. It was like I screamed, I hurt so many people, like 10 times, and it was just like gone. It was just like gone with the healing. All of the everything was just like, felt like light the next day. Pure fucking light. It was so good.
Well, we do, after all of the chakras, um, we do get into the love light infusion. So how is that for you? And then we'll wrap up the video.
That was, I wouldn't say it was the most awesome part of the healing, but it was a really awesome part of the healing because when you said we're bringing in your soul tribe to be around you and embrace you, I envisioned everybody, just like everybody there, and it was just like I was, through the whole thing I was crying, but I was just like super emotional at that point
Could
because
you feel them?
I
Can you
felt
feel the
everyone.
different, can you feel the difference in the, like when we're like
It's
working
different sort
together?
of wavelengths
Yeah.
between the different, yeah, it's different sort of wavelengths
Like
before
when
the
we're working
different.
with Gaia, kind of the angelics kind of do this and really
Mhm,
give us space, because it's some serious business we're working with that energy. So they go out real far, where you know they're there, but they're not in any way, they're just observing, and they're, you know, offering their love,
mhm.
their support.
Not in your face.
Yeah, they're not like right up in here. And then after that, then they come in and then they literally are like right up on you. And so
Mhm.
I've
That's what it was too. It
had
was
other
like
people do
everybody
that.
was
Yeah,
right around
yeah,
me,
it
giving
gets,
me a big energy hug.
yeah, yeah, kind of starts off that way in the beginning, because then we do the clearing and the whole, like, you know, so they're doing all that with the protection and stuff in your home and stuff. So it starts off like that, where you feel that warmth, that density, like in your space, like really nice and warm and tight, like this, like
Mhm.
like energy, like dense with their but a good dance with their, you know, with their, what is this dog doing? What are you doing? Sorry, what is it that you're doing right now? Can we not do that? Thank you. I have a pair of pants that fell down here apparently, and she's just like sitting there like doing that dog thing. Like, on my pants. This business. Yeah, so we kind of start off that way. It gets really dense, then they pull out, and then we get back in, and then we do the love light infusion directly into your heart. And that is well, I don't know, you tell me. You said it was one of your kind of your favorite. It's hard because Gaia is great, the whole Gaia thing is amazing, but then this is it's so different. It's like we go from inner and then into outer, you know what I mean? It goes like out and then it's just like completely a different thing. It's totally different, but that's why it's so great, because you've done the inner with Gaia and you're grounded and you're tethered, and then you on top of that go up and then bring in all that light to just infuse around you. I'm sorry, it's the shit.
It's pretty cool.
It's
pretty cool.
How did that feel in your body?
So you described having the feeling of when the infinite love and light enters your heart, it pumps that infinite love and light throughout your body.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did I feel it pump throughout my body, but I felt it pump throughout like all of my energetic field. And it filled my energetic field with and resonated with the love and light that I already had within it.
Mm-hmm.
And it only made everything like infinitely brighter. And the next on Thursday,
did you get really tingly?
I did. It was like,
we talked about like the visual, like viscerally feeling things. Is that way? How did that feel versus like the chakras? Like, well, how did it? Let me ask you this. Versus like when we were all done with all your chakras and we put all your energy back in, sealed you up all nice and pretty. And then from that moment to after the infusion, like what did that feel like? I think that's,
So I would describe it as it was like waves of warm light just passing up and down my body and through my energy fields. And my energy fields, I would describe the feeling of them as like in through this way, and then it goes out through the other way. And they kind of like perpetuate each other with motion. Like gears.
Mm-hmm.
But they had like a sort of, before that infinite love light infusion, they had a sort of like greenish blue hue to them. Kind of aqua. But after it was like it slowly kind of worked, the energy worked around and filled it all with, like, it brightened it first and then it turned pure white pink glistening. And it was way more infinite love light.
Yeah, it's
definitely
intense energy.
It's fucking incredible, honestly.
It's the most intense energy you can, highest vibe energy that you can feel is that energy, that pure source, infinite love, light energy. And not only are you feeling it, but it's literally like passing through the energy fields of all the angelics on top, you know what I mean? So it's like the way that it goes, it's kind of like you're here and I'm right next to you, and then we're all like out and up, and it just keeps going, and there's just like a lot of angelics, and all of their focus is with their energy coming down, and it's just like all going through them. So it's fractaling and it's doing all this stuff, and then it lasers through me, my hands into you, because I say, now you like feel me, like I'm like my hands are literally on your heart. That's what I would do if I was doing an in-person healing. I would put my hands, if you were laying on your back or laying on your stomach, on your heart, so it's just really focused and channeling through. Mm-hmm. And cycling through your entire, I just like to see it, the way that I visualize it is just like I see it from inside your body. I really visualize it as the healer going into your heart and just kind of just everything until there isn't a piece of speck of anything in your body everywhere that isn't doused with this infinite love light energy. And then we just like let it sit there and just boom 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 for a little bit, so you can, you know, just kind of take that in and feel it. That never goes away. That's what
I definitely have carried that with me through the rest of my experiences afterward, and I feel as though many people can feel that.
Mhm.
Especially children, because they just flock to me and they all
More than
love me
before.
way more than before, actually. Yeah,
That's awesome.
because kids have never had a problem with me, because obviously I love them and they can feel that. But even more so now, they just they are like on top of me at work. It's hilarious.
I love that. That's awesome. You know what that means? You've let go of so much energy that they can pick up on your vibe, and it's more in line with theirs. If you can vibe close to a child's vibe, that's good. If kids love you, that's good. If animals love you, that's good, because then that means that they're attracted to your vibration. They are super sensitive to vibration, like humans. Adults, we're way better at making excuses for energy than a child. A child's like, no.
No, I know what I feel. Fuck you.
So either they're attracted or they're repelled, but it's very real. And so that's awesome, because you, I'm sure, and I know for a fact, are meant to connect with children, because you can speak to them in a way that they can understand. You know, like they especially these children, this new crop, this new bunch
Oh
of
yeah.
that are
And
here.
I've met so many children that I just knew. I knew that they were either dragons or crystal children. Their energy was just fucking resonant. And I would see the recognition.
Yeah, you can tell by their eyes.
Yeah, I would see the recognition of their energy when they look up at me. It's the brightness. And they can see in me that brightness, and I know they can. And some of them, actually, there was like one or two of them that were like, there was this energy in them that felt like, is that really you? Like, what the fuck? It's you? And like,
Well,
they had met that certain energy before, and they were having that sort of deja vu kind of moment. I could feel that going on. In like, it was only in like two, maybe even just one, but I think it was two kids that I felt that sort of like deja vu thing going on.
well, and you can't forget the fact that there's a good chance, you know, you're getting more telepathic, and these children are telepathic. So, you know, you could be sending thoughts, connecting telepathically before you even are aware of it. And then you're like looking at each other like, is this happening? Because not everybody does that.
Yeah.
So who knows, you know, I think that these kids today are probably practicing all sorts of stuff on their own or with each other. Because there's like, when I was a kid, I was like the only one. So I just had me. Now, like almost pretty much every child that's under the age of 10 is online and has abilities that are not necessarily getting squashed as easily as they used to be. They're just coming in. We've gotten Gaia to a point where these higher vibe children can land at that and be okay in their bodies. because she's risen in vibration, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
for some of us, we could only, like, we got here with the high, especially like me being a physical empath, like obviously I have that highest, like when I was born nearly 46 years ago, what I'm trying to say is I could only land at a so high vibe, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or else there'd be way too much interference
Dissonance
between myself, the environment, maybe Gaia herself, who knows? I just know that I got here like maxed out as it was, being in the body that I'm in, being and calling, you know, in my physical body, being set up with the physicality that it had to be able to take on this energy.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I'm a physical empath, and that science has determined, I think I told you this like about 2 to 3 years ago. 7:55:55. Wow. About 2-3 years ago, that empaths and physical empaths have much larger neuro transmitters than the non-empath. So what that means is that if a regular human has all your little neurotransmitters in your brain, in your body, like your whole electrical system basically, and how they conduct energy, send information back and forth, and feel out the energy into your environment. So for the average person, let's say we're talking about the size of a lemon. And for somebody like me, we're talking about like the size of a watermelon, you know, like every single one of these are massively bigger. So I can feel out, and I can, you know, feel that in my body. There's a reason for that. So it's not just, basically what I'm getting at is, in the past, there was this theory that there's empaths and they're more sensitive to energy. Well, science has caught up to slicing and dicing and knowing for a fact this person's and all of these people that are like this have this physical trait. Their neurotransmitters are actually exponentially larger, so they can feel and do this energy thing.
Oh, Rainey said, I miss all of you tonight. Oh, Rainey said, I miss all of you tonight.
Aw, sweet love. So anyway, so it's like a, not that it wasn't real before, but it definitely, I think, helps people understand a little bit better, on a physical level, you know. So with these children that are being born, that are, with their abilities, like, you know, we're all born with these different abilities and have different levels of them. There's more of them. Their bodies can handle their energy and this better. It's very different now than it used to be. There's, you know, and like what was it, the mama dragon said with the little ones, that they're definitely, we've known for a while that there definitely are more. And now there's more of all sorts, you know, star seeds and elementals and fae, and, you know, they're all coming and helping. And for sure also the baby dragons and the little ones, you know, like we talked about, you know, they are,
I feel like I met at least one of the baby dragons
incarnating.
I feel like I did, because that one that was having the deja vu, that I felt that they were having that deja vu. It was that little girl. Her hair was like bleach blonde naturally, and her eyes were just like cyan blue, and her energy was just so resonant and similar to mine. I could feel it. And she was like, is this really happening right now? Like,
Aw.
are you, hello?
How old was
Hello? like in her head, you know?
she? Yeah.
She was like 8 or 9,
Wow, that's so cool.
and she was just like freaking out subconsciously. Like, I know you.
So what was she doing?
I was on the top of one of the little kid towers, and she was just going down the water slides, but like every time she would come up, there was just like this light in her eyes, and it was like she knew who I was. I could feel that.
Well, I remember
Or at least my energy, like she recognized the
yeah,
energetic
I
signature.
remember when I was a kid and I would come across adults that I just, I just remember knowing.
Oh, it's 10:01 on my clock.
No, that's awesome. That's a good word number. So yeah, I think it's awesome that this kid thing is happening with you, that this has changed and you're drawing them in, or however you want to put it, they're recognizing you. And I think it's important for you to maybe think about well, I would love to be able to start making so much money I can employ you like full time. I'm just saying. But if that's not the case, for you to work someplace where you can be around kids, maybe, because I think that you would miss it if you didn't.
And that's what I've been looking into, is working around kids.
Good.
And
I think it's important for you.
My gram, she actually mentioned that her work at a hospital has like a little kids section, and they're looking for people.
Oh.
So I might go work there. Go work with
like
not sick kids, like kids that are just like visiting or stuff like that.
Or something like a
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I feel like that would be the perfect job.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. You would just need to be, really cognizant of your energy working in a hospital.
Yep.
So, but it, you could definitely, do it. I think, or something that's similar to that in some
right.
would be great for you if it incorporated art, or if you got to incorporate art with that, even or music or singing or anything.
You know what I really want to do? I really want to do a sort of, I don't think it's ever going to happen because school systems kind of suck around here, but I really want to do like a mindfulness meditation kind of oriented class, but for kids. So like I could introduce it to them.
And I'm into that too. I want to start doing astrals with kids too.
I feel like that would be so fucking cool. But obviously it would only really work if they're into it, because I don't want to force it down anybody's throat, because I was on the receiving end of having information shoved down my throat and I hated it. And it only pushed me further away from a lot of information.
Well, it's gonna have to come from the parents who are aware and awake and wanting their children to grow up consciously.
Yes.
So if they're already, or they're waking up and they're trying to get their kids online.
Yeah.
So like Rainey has children that he's raised that have, not been raised in that way. He also has it's also a split home too, so it's not the easiest thing in the world. But
that's really difficult.
So there's a lot of different circumstances why a kid could be there. I want to set up some maybe that's something you can help me with, is online like meetups. So meetup is supposed to be in person, but I don't know if there's some place to put something for online meetups and have it be for children, obviously for adults too. But
could do a Zoom.
Huh?
Could do a Zoom.
A Zoom. Well, no, it'd be like Yeah, I'm not sure. It'll be different. There'll be. I need to figure it out, but it keeps coming up, so it needs to be. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Like that's one of my missions is working with the kids. So it's a big deal for me. Always has been.
It'd be super cool to work with a kid and then have them grow up and just be super, super awake and helping others get to that point themselves.
That's why they're
That'd
here.
be like the greatest.
Yeah, it would be the greatest. I did. I worked with my friend who has this business where she goes. Well, it's basically like an after school arts program where it's like a privately like the parents pay for it directly, but they go, it's all at the schools that she's figured out throughout like several of the counties around here actually. So she has a lot of artists, teachers that work, and I that actually went to art school. And then I also worked with her, like I was like the assistant, so I worked with her and a lot of the different artists that were the teachers, and so we had groups of anywhere between 15 to 20 something kids that at the different schools. So different schools have the different kids and the different days that I went and I did this with them, you see. So I was like with the kids all the time doing art. It was after school art program that they put together. It was
so awesome.
Awesome. It was.
I
hated it. I needed it to work full time. This is when I was with Staples, and I was offered a full time like lead position, and I needed the money and everything that went with it. So I had to stop doing the other thing with the kids. But I did it for, gosh, at least a year or two, I think. It was a while. It was awesome. So I know how awesome it is to be around children and to create with them and to watch them create.
Because they're so creative and open.
And yeah, it's amazing. So if you can have that experience, I know you will. I know that'll be an ever evolving experience, probably for all of us, for the rest of our lives. So it's just getting there. But we're on our way, aren't we?
We truly are.
Okay, so is there, kind of veered off there. Is there
I'm really good at potentiating your veering off.
We were talking about how your work and where you work now, and so it's all in alignment. This is the arc of your evolution from going to where it worked for you and where you could work to moving into a place that's better for you and in so many ways. Just being around all that chlorine all the time is not good.
Ugh,
That's the major problem.
And really, it just makes my body ache and itch and And you've told me before that because I'm so conscious of it, it affects me more. And even though I know it affects me more because I'm so conscious of it, I can't like turn it off. It's just.
Well, it smells.
Yeah. And you know what? The smell that you smell, the chlorine smell, it is actually the chemical reaction of pee mixed with chlorine.
Lovely.
Yeah. It's not that pungent if it's not pee mixed with chlorine.
Or they put too much in it. I've been in pools where there's just like,
dude,
really
I'm certain that they lie to me when they tell me how much chlorine is in that water, and they're like, oh, it's only a minimal amount that you need for it to be sanitary. Oh, bullshit, I can smell it in the locker room. Fuck you.
Please tell me, do you take a shower like right when you get home? Like do you don't let that linger on you, do you?
I really don't have time.
Well, it would be better if you could wash it off of you and not let it permeate. And I mean, your skin is it's bad enough you're breathing it when you're there and it's on your skin when you're there. But if you can, even if it's a 5-minute shower, get home, get in the shower, like rinse, just, it doesn't even necessarily need soap. You just rinse it, whatever, you know, from head to toe, just when you can, you know, it's better for you not to just let it sit on you. The chemicals are just not, you know, obviously you're great and you're healthy and everything, but you know.
Yeah, I know I need to, but then I just like, I either forget or I just like get caught up in doing everything else that I do when I get home. So like I just kind of like space it out completely.
Well, it's also like a habit thing. You have to like every it's a
Mm-hmm.
like it's a routine change if you're going to do it, so you have to be like super conscious of it, you know, even talk to yourself before you're leaving work. Now when I get home, I'm going to get home, and one of the first things I'm going to do before I eat, before I do this, before I do that, is take off all my clothes, get in the shower, wash myself, you know what I mean? Like you have to start,
Leave on all my clothes. I don't even know I had to mention that step.
like you have, no, seriously, for you to like, once you, it's
I
literally
know.
manifesting you have to like go, I'm gonna get home, I'm gonna get my, you know what I mean, like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna step by step, I'm gonna visualize my ass in the shower naked. That's it, like for
Need to eat a little more chocolate, looking a little skinny there.
me to actually get stuff done. I have to like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Okay, I have to see myself doing it, or else I seriously like I almost have to do that, or else I get like so distracted with what comes up, and so many things can come up. Oh my god, seriously.
I know what you mean.
You just have to be like, no, it's this. Close, like, so anyway, it's you're gonna survive either way. Hopefully you'll be in a different job sooner than later.
I really hope so too.
That would be ideal. Okay, so is there anything else that we should talk about to wrap up this video about your healing you wanted to mention for those who are still with us?
If you have any energy that is lingering in your body, please consider healing, because it's helped me immensely to transmute it, to get it into alignment with who I really need to be to help others. So if you feel like you need energy in you either gone or a new way to gauge it, to deal with it, consider healing. It's going to help you.
I love that. Thank you, Sky. You're amazing.
You are too.
I really appreciate your openness, and the world at large will too. I know it. And thank you for, you know, finding me and trusting me in the ways that you have. It means a lot to me when anybody comes to me for a healing session, because it, you know, it really does show a lot of trust in me, and it means a lot. And it was a beautiful experience to do that session with you, to be the facilitator and the witness, to working with you and with Gaia. And I think, did Michael I think
Oh yeah.
yeah,
He
he
did.
did, right? I'm like, now I remember who was, because there usually isn't like a whole.
He was like, I know how rad you think I am. I gotta step in.
So yeah, it'll be kind of different who comes in, if it's anybody besides one or two archangels or whoever. But that was within your session. It was Gaia, definitely, and Michael came in too. So just to be the voice box, the facilitator, the hands-on person in all of that with you. is so special to me, and I thank you for being open to it. And it's amazing to see in these few days that I have gone by, really, how your energy is just so much brighter, and also just feels so aligned. It's like when before this happens with people, explain that it's kind of one of these things, with your bodies, like you talked about, your energetic bodies are not like this, but then we get them like that, and then you really sit into your you in a way that you weren't able to before, because the space wasn't there for you to be able to do it. So when I say you really don't know what it feels like to be you until you go through something like this on such a beautiful and deep level energetically, what do you say to that?
I completely fucking agree.
Okay, everybody has so far, but
Completely.
you don't, when you're on the other side, you're like, what's that all about? Because it sounds so strange. It doesn't, you logically understand what I'm saying to you, like, okay.
But you don't feel exactly how resonant it is until you make the space for it.
You cannot possibly understand. It's like explaining a croissant in France, right? You could be like, yeah, I'm understanding what you're saying about that awesome croissant that you had in France. But until you're sitting in France chomping on that buttery biscuit or whatever, a croissant, you don't know what it's like to be there. And it's the same kind of thing. Conceptually, sure, I hear you. It makes sense. But once you're finally there.
Tastes like bread, sounds like bread.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it.
Like, yeah, I get it. Yeah. But it's like, oh no, now that you're there.
Now that you have this croissant in your mouth.
Now you can taste it. It's not just a concept anymore. Now you can live in that reality in your reality, in your world, in a whole new way that is, it is like a peeling back more to just be able to see yourself and see your place and
see the Eiffel Tower while you're biting into that croissant.
And enjoy the yummy goodness. Now I want a freaking croissant.
You've done this to yourself.
I did. I really did. I think I want to be in France eating a croissant. I can still do that if I'm vegan, right? Well, they probably put all sorts of butter in there.
I don't know.
I don't care. I actually haven't had any butter in forever. It's like,
it probably wouldn't be unhealthy to have it like once or twice, but not a big deal.
I've been doing, like, just like, I'm like, what am I going to substitute for butter on my bread? Sometimes I just toast with some butter on it, like, it's so simple. I miss butter, man. It was one of my favorite. No, seriously, dairy at large with like hardcore.
Dude, imagine living in the dairy state of Wisconsin and then trying to give up dairy. You can't do it. It's everywhere.
You can't. I have.
And it's the best fucking dairy around.
I've started I'm still eating cheese, just less of it, I think. And then with the butter and the milk, that's like no more. Anyway, I've been using coconut milk.
Ooh.
On my toast. It's creamy, and it has kind of that same consistency as butter. It's pretty close, actually. I mean, it's not butter, obviously, but it's the closest thing I've found so far.
That's super cool.
Yeah. Anyway, try it sometime. It's actually really yummy. It's really
I'll try it.
Yeah.
I really want to get on some almond milk, honestly.
That's all I drink is almond milk now.
Regular milk. I really don't like milk anymore. It's just like gross.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah.
I can't understand people who like just fill up a glass with milk and chug that shit. Like what?
That
Hello?
Oh yeah, I love that's milk was one of my absolute favorite things most of my life until very recently.
You know what's weird?
It goes through like 3 gallons in a week easily.
I've never liked milk that way. I've always my mom even used to like they went to take me to get tested for diabetes because when that's a sign that you have diabetes, like you're thirsty for water all the time.
Mm.
'Cause, but I would ask for water, 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 water all the time. And
Water's really good for you, so it's good.
mhm, yeah. And
Listening.
I bet that's why I drink so much water because I knew if I drink milk in place of water, the water is gonna be like 10 times healthier. It's gonna make me feel 10 times better than milk's gonna make me
You know
feel.
what's really funny is that there's a ton of sugar in milk.
Mhm.
Sugar in milk, like a lot of
Mhm.
sugar in milk. It's one of the things when I realized,
Makes me feel like shit.
yeah, there's a lot of sugar in a lot of things that people really don't understand
Mhm.
has a lot of sugar in it. And
And then they'll put it on the nutritional facts and it doesn't really gauge how much
yeah,
fucking sugar it is. Like you'll a lot of people don't even read it. They're just like, "Oh yeah, whatever."
no, but not only that, you don't think of like certain things that would have sugar. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
certain like a lot of like carbs and um like that milk. Certain things definitely have a lot of just naturally have a lot of sugar in
Mhm.
it. Anyway. Okay, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much. You're the best for doing this and for sharing your experience with everybody. I really appreciate it because I know it'll help other
Thank
people
you.
decide, if they're gonna go through with it. What I call a pioneer, one of the early people who come and get their healings from me, who um find their way to me in the most obscure ways it seems so far. But yeah, it'll definitely help people. We'll post it, and again, I thank you so much. And it's probably now too late to work on that other video, so we probably have to postpone it till tomorrow. But I'm glad I really wanted to get this video done with you for about your healing before too much time went by, aside
Mhm.
from your own videos that you do that are awesome. So we'll do links to those as well when I post this video too, and this video will be on my website. I also posted your part 1 on my website already, so I'm gonna have to add your part
Oh,
2.
cool.
Yeah, so this will be there and on my YouTube channel as well. So
Awesome. I
yeah,
hope it's really helpful.
it will be helpful. I know for sure. Okay, honey, I love you so much.
Love you too.
I
Thank
will.
you so much for this opportunity.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, honey. Bye.
Bye.
Mwah!